Hello everybody, it is GZTV back with another video, and we are here with another review continuing on our comedy journey. This time we have the 2001 film Zoolander, basically spearheaded in its entirety by Ben Stiller. Kind of a rewatch. I did watch this a decent amount. I definitely watched this as a kid at some point. I barely really remembered anything about it, so it's kind of refreshing to get on here and watch it with you guys and kind of review it and stuff like that. Now watching it again, this movie, I mean, it's dumb as hell. Like, that's absolutely the comedy it goes for. It's very fucking stupid, but it's also really damn fun. It's a really good time movie. It's one thing to be a fun movie, it's another thing for it to be funny, especially in the comedy space. Again, shout out to Ben Stiller here, linking up with guys like Owen Wilson, Will Ferrell, of course, Christine, I can't remember her name, she is absolutely gorgeous. But we're gonna get into everything. I'm not gonna have too much to say because it's a pretty simplistic movie, but I had a lot of fun. It's another one of those comedic classics we gotta cover on our list. So getting into the premise, the movie follows Derek Zoolander. He's like a top male model who's basically an absolute idiot. I mean, a lot of these comedies we've been watching recently kind of just take concepts, industries, current events, and make fun of them. And now we're kind of doing the fashion industry, which is pretty unique, I will admit. That's really cool to see. And when he loses his spot to Hansel, basically Hansel's like the next generation, his successor, and they're like fighting for male model of the year or whatever, and that's kind of what starts the movie. Hansel takes over, he runs a bunch of ad campaigns, he becomes the biggest model in the world. He gets wrapped up in a crazy plot, obviously. Derek Zoolander, he gets brainwashed. Like, he takes this deal from the main character, I can't even remember what the fuck his name is, played by Will Ferrell, like the villain. There's an assassination that he's supposed to take out on the Prime Minister of Malaysia. The whole fashion industry is being explored here. A lot of tropes, a lot of things in that culture, and a deal to like revive his career. He like has to go to the show, and he basically gets brainwashed, like a lot of models do in real life. Again, this movie plays on a lot of current concepts to kill the Prime Minister, so we'll get into all of this. So getting into the good, obviously the main character, Derek Zoolander, is pretty fucking hilarious, and I mean, would you look at that? Ben Stiller not only is directing, writing, producing, creating, he's also acting in this fucking thing. He also has a legitimate role, and he is the main character. So this is Ben Stiller's comedic baby of the early 2000s, if you will, and he plays Derek Zoolander. I mean, of course he's gonna kill the role. He is phenomenal. He's one of the best comedic actors of all time. I was actually just watching the Nets game earlier, and he was courtside, so it's really cool to see him. This character's kind of clueless. He's overly confident. Obviously, he's a model, and he's super famous, and people want to have deals with him and stuff like that. He is just straight up an idiot. Very similar to like a Ron Burgundy from Anchorman, where he's very much publicly recognized. He's getting all these rewards. He's getting all of these recognitions, and he doesn't understand how much of a fucking idiot he is. There's a lot of power and charm. There's a lot of power and charisma, and that's what he has here. He says some dumb shit. I mean, obviously, we can get into some funny moments in a second, but stuff like you googly instead of eulogy, not being able to turn left, which is something a fucking mentally retarded kid would possess. I don't even think he's supposed to be mentally retarded, but the way they paint him here, for sure. But why male models? I mean, that kind of humor, though, does work, I will admit. It is retarded, it is stupid. We've been used to seeing that with all sorts of different movies, but it works. It's not just loud, it's not just in your face, being abrasive, trying to like clip farm, if you will, if you want to use the modern terminology. There's a lot of little subtle moments to it as well, so it's clever. Like, it also plays on the fact of the fashion industry. Mugatu is a chaotic ass fucking character. That's what his name is. That's Will Ferrell's character. It was a great surprise. I honestly forgot he was even in this movie. Again, I definitely watched this as a kid because my dad said he's watched it many times, and I used to watch comedies all the time. Probably not a good thing when I was a kid with my dad, and crazy enough, this movie came out like 2 years before I was born, so it's a pretty damn old movie. He brings so much chaos to it, and like right at the beginning when Mugatu is like sitting up front of like this United Nations looking kind of meeting, this like panel, I'm like, holy shit, Will Ferrell's in this movie? I know that voice from anywhere. He brings so much. Matching the hair with his dog, looking like a fucking idiot, screaming nonsensical things. He has quite the ridiculous backstory once they kind of reveal it later on in the film, and that adds to the comedy. He used to be a part of this band. He got kicked out, was ashamed, changed his name, and he invented the piano key necktie. Not even actual keys on it, it's just the design. He doesn't necessarily steal the movie, but he definitely elevates it. I do think Will Ferrell serves quite a higher purpose in this movie as a very good antagonist. I think the fashion satire, even to this day, still works. There's a lot of even modern issues that this movie touches on, and the whole thing with the fashion industry, the whole tropes, like everything that comes with that, it's never going to get old because fashion industry is going to be around probably forever. And this is where the movie is actually kind of smart. Again, there's dumb shit that happens, but it makes fun of how serious kind of fashion takes itself and its models, ridiculous outfits, shady industry practices. I mean, you still look to this day at like Paris Fashion Week or New York Fashion Week or wherever, and you'll look at these these runway shows from Balenciaga, Rick Owens, Vitamins, and they look fucking stupid. Like, the outfits look absolutely dumb, and like this one is like, oh, Derrite or something like that, and you're taking trash and like making people look fucking homeless. That's not an exaggeration. Like, there's actually some fashion brands that look like that, and honestly, that stuff, it's still relevant. You look at brands, they still put out wild, questionable stuff. So even though parts of this movie do feel dated, you can tell it came out like 25 years ago, the satire itself still hits. And obviously we can get into the iconic and funny moments of this thing, because there are quite a bit of them. There's a lot of memorable stuff here. I mean, obviously the fight with the gasoline, although very stupid, it is pretty damn funny, and that being the way they die, and that looping back to like the statue in front of the raiding school, the walk-off competition between Hansel and Derek in front of David Bowie. There's a lot of really awesome celebrity cameos. Look at Fred Durst, who's in this movie. What is this, a center for ants? They're showing him like the diorama, like the 3D model, like the model made out of what, fucking like toothpicks and shit. And he's like, what is this, a center for ants? He thinks that's the actual thing. He fucking smashes it. The whole sequence where he's getting brainwashed in the spa, the coal mine, whenever he goes back, visits his dad, taking me back to my roots, and he visits his dad who's a coal miner. Even random things like his award show meltdown at the beginning of the movie, being a dumbass and accepting an award that he didn't win, getting clowned by major publications because of that. Obviously Times Magazine, and the whole reporter Matilda, played by the wonderful Christine, comes in. His son doing the pose at the end. I mean, there's just a lot of minor and major things that make this movie great. It's just a hell of a ride. I really enjoy this movie. Getting into the bad, I will say, like, the comedy itself, I did have a lot of really iconic moments to kind of bring up throughout the good, but it's just not super consistent. I don't think the humor is always hitting. There's definitely moments that are trying to be funny and they're trying to go for this thing. Some jokes land, some don't. You definitely feel that, and it does suck. It's not as funny as a decent amount of other comedy movies I've seen. It's still very much enjoyable. That doesn't take away from the story and the enjoyability and just the creativeness of this whole dilemma, and in concept, I think it is really awesome. But still, the actual laughs, I didn't laugh too much watching this, and obviously it is a bit dated. I mean, parts of this movie are very early 2000s and very much dramatized, and that was kind of a big thing with comedy back in the day. They wanted to dramatize everything, exaggerate it, try to get their point across, send a message to the fashion industry. I mean, obviously we're not trying to like change the world here. That's not what a comedy's supposed to do. It's kind of just like making those people feel bad, talk shit and make jokes. Certain jokes, I mean, obviously like the posing, like the entire movie he's doing that. Some of the style, some of the ways the movie looks, and even like the sequence where they're in the spa looks very much like Little Nicky with Adam Sandler, which I don't think I'm ever going to get to on the channel, unfortunately, because it is kind of dog shit, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I mean, it's nostalgic. Like, there's a lot of nostalgia that comes with the datedness of this movie, and it reminds you of that time. And it's not bad. It's not like absolutely horrible. There's probably no reason why I put this here, just cause, but you can tell it came out in the early 2000s. It's definitely not like a timeless thing in terms of a cinematic, but there you go. Getting into the okay, I'm mixed on just like the plot in general, or the concept. I do think it is pretty awesome. Like, I do think it is fun for a comedy. Obviously it's not super plausible. It's very much like a symbolism, very much like a representation of things that actually happen, and again, exaggerating things. Like, no one's actually plotting to kill the president under a fashion designer house. Like, that's just not happening. But the whole brainwashing, conspiracy, assassination, I mean, at the time, that was like right after Y2K, so there were all sorts of spurts of conspiracy theories, like we live in a simulation, all of this different stuff. People had different outlooks on life, and like what the government was hiding from us, and you get me, like aliens, Bigfoot, like there was all sorts of phenomena that people were kind of studying. So this movie kind of plays on that a little bit, but the plot is, I mean, kind of ridiculous. Again, it's very much fantasized to fit into a really funny movie, but honestly, you're not really here for the plot anyway. It's supposed to be a funny movie, and certainly what happens in the movie sets up for some pretty comedic situations, and I don't mind it at all. Getting into Hansel, I'm not gonna say he's like a bad character, but I'm also not gonna say he's like the greatest character in the world. I love Owen Wilson. He's one of my favorite actors of this kind of comedic era, and there's plenty of other movies we're probably gonna cover with him in it, but he works, I mean, for sure. He just works, though. I'm not gonna like go over the top and say, holy shit, I love Hansel. I mean, there's a really cool like development of their rivalry kind of turning into friendship, and then in the end he's kind of helping Eric run the school and all of this stuff. That's awesome, but he's a good contrast. I mean, he's a lot more chill. He's a lot more confident. Derek is a little bit too over the top because he's kind of been running the show for a while. So hot right now, energy. I mean, that's fucking great. Obviously, like him and Derek talk to each other and he's like, man, I fucking looked up to you. You're the reason I got into modeling. There's some really cool, wholesome scenes between these two characters, that's for sure. Owen Wilson bounces off of Ben Stiller quite well, but nothing to seriously write home about, so that's all I got. So getting into the review, overall, I mean, Zoolander is a really enjoyable comedy. It's got stupidity, it's got chaos, very much of its timing. Obviously, it is very true to the 2000s comedy style, but it's also very satirical and it's very strong at that, and it's somewhat intelligent and making fun of the industry. It knows a lot of the ins and outs. It's got really fun characters. There's a ton of memorable moments, of course. This isn't a movie to really take seriously, as no comedies really are, but it's a really awesome movie to go back and rewatch with people you love. And it's not perfect. It's a great movie to throw on and just enjoy it. Again, it's nothing to take serious. It's nothing to really be overly critical about. You guys probably think it's quite silly that I'm coming on here and critically talking about these films, but it's not quite on the level of some of the other movies that came out around this time. I mean, I recently kind of reviewed the Anchorman franchise. It's not quite like that. Still a really fun and iconic comedy. In terms of if I'm going to watch Zoolander 2, because that's probably a big thing you guys are asking, probably not. This could possibly come up later as an idea, but I'm just going to leave it to the original. We're going to give it a 7.9 out of 10. I actually really like it. That might be a little bit high of a score for what the movie is, but I still really enjoy it. Obviously, Euphoria Season 3, just kind of some updates for the channel. Euphoria Season 3, Episode 2 is coming out tomorrow night, so I will be watching that literally less than 24 hours from the time I'm recording this. I will be watching it with my dad. We're obviously covering NBA playoffs all season long, so be on the lookout for everything. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, go check out the socials wherever you get content. If you want streams, I'm here. I'm actually getting ready to hop on stream after I'm done recording this. If you want updates, I'm over on Twitter. If you want New Music Friday content, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. We do everything. I'm a multimedia personality. That's what I want to be called. That's why I have such a general name at GCTV. We cover all sorts of things, and if you guys want me to cover something, leave a comment. I will be sure to do it.